This is KGW News at noon.
Sad, but don't have to take somebody's life for some petty change.
People in Kelso are reacting to an early morning robbery. Police say a man shot and killed a convenience store clerk, and they are searching for that gunman. Good afternoon, I'm Ashley Korslund. Police just wrapped up that news conference, so we want to get right out to KGW's Tim Gordon, who's been on the story all morning. And Tim, police did identify the victim.
Yeah, Ashley, they just did. She is 30-year-old Kayla Chapman. Friends say she was a kind and caring person. Police say she was shot and killed as she worked as a clerk at a mini-mart here in Kelso. This is the man that police believe is responsible. They say he's described as average build, black or dark skinned, covering his face with a hat and bandana. Now, the car he left in is a white late model sedan you see here. Police believe others were in that car too. And this is the victim, Kayla Chapman, who friends told us had just turned 30 a few weeks ago. She'd worked at Holt's Quick Check Market on Cowlitz Way for a few years and was working alone overnight. At 4:12 a.m., the 911 call came in. It was Chapman trying to save her life.
We have received a 911 call from 400 Cowlitz Way, which is our Holt's Quick Check, from the clerk, indicating she'd been shot. We responded. We did find her down. She later succumbed to her wounds.
Beautiful, beautiful soul that just cared about everyone. Huge impact on the whole community. I just came here to see if there was any other information.
Really sad. That friend just broken up. She and others also broken up, described Chapman as really a giving friend who also volunteered to help the homeless and animals in the community. Real loss here for sure. And police vow to catch the killer. I hope you'll take another look at his picture and the picture of the car on my Facebook or Twitter. And if you have any information, please call Kelso Police. The police chief here says he thinks they'll get him, but they do need help. Ashley, back to you.
Absolutely, Tim. And of course, we will bring you all new information on this fatal shooting, both on the air and online. Go to our KGW News app or the KGW Facebook page for updates throughout the day. Well, today is the first day back to class for a lot of kids after the long holiday weekend, and many parents in Clark County are uneasy. 22 people are now sick with the measles virus. Most of them are kids, and 19 of the 22 were unvaccinated. We don't know if the other 3 had their shots. Christine Pitawanich is live at the Evergreen School District, and Christine, district officials are putting in some more safety restrictions now.
Ashley, the district has 4 schools that are on a list of potential exposure sites for the measles virus. One of those schools here at Hearthwood Elementary. Students and staff here already required to have proof that they're immune to the measles, but now that requirement is being expanded. Here at the largest school district in Southwest Washington, precautions are being taken.
We have 4 schools at this point that are affected with potential measles exposure.
Those schools include Evergreen High School as well as Hearthwood, Image, and Orchards Elementary Schools.
We are following the direction of Clark County Public Health, and we are excluding any individuals, and that's staff or students, that don't have either proof of immunization or proof of immunity at those 4 sites.
That means kids and staff who aren't immune to the measles aren't allowed to show up to those specific schools. But after Evergreen High School was added to the list on Sunday, things got more complex.
A lot bigger school, a lot more activities going on, including performances, sporting events.
So now the district, on direction from Clark County Public Health, is expanding its precautions.
People that had had direct contact with any of the measles cases, that they either provide proof of immunization or immunity if they were coming to any of the events at those schools.
Which means it's not a district-wide requirement, but for the events at the schools on the list, it means attendees who may have had direct contact with a measles case need some sort of documentation from a doctor's office.
The individuals, their families, and perhaps the social circles. And so we're relying on them providing that information as well.
The plan, not exactly a surefire way to prevent more measles cases from popping up, but it's a start.
We'll have extra staff at any of these performances or games, and we'll see how it goes.
So how do you know if you've been around a person with measles? Well, today the county started calling people who may have had direct contact with a measles case, though not everyone who may have been exposed will receive a call. But, you know, a reminder, if you think you or a family member may have been exposed to the measles, don't go rushing off to the doctor's office, because otherwise, if you do have the measles, you may infect everyone else. So call ahead first. And by the way, the county did add a few new potential exposure sites to their list. They include a Dollar Tree here in Vancouver, as well as Memorial Urgent Care. You will find an updated list on our website, kgw.com. Back to you.
Yeah, there really is so much information. Christine, thank you very much. It is 12:04. We want to take a live look right now from our Wells Fargo Skycam. You can see raindrops on the lens. Pretty wet out there right now, but that's not going to last for too long. So, Rod, tell us when we can expect things to dry out. I see everybody at the square with their umbrellas out here.
I'm thinking, Ashley, you're the one that wanted to see that gray picture.
Well, that's true.
Of the sky camera. Yeah, not the prettiest outside right now. I do want to point out on Doppler radar, the rain is steady from Astoria, Tillamook to Salem and Portland. Some heavy rain now starting to work itself out into the Columbia River Gorge and the Cascade foothills. The temperature over downtown Portland holding at 44 degrees. Now, what's interesting is this steady rain that started around 9 o'clock or so this morning is with a warm push of air coming in. The main front over the next 60 minutes will slowly push out. And with that, we think the rain will either taper into scattered showers or will just be kind of misty. So one of those two at 2 o'clock. So by 2 o'clock, the heaviest of the rain that's falling will be over. And again, this is showing scattered showers at 5 p.m., but this might be the low overcast continuing to kind of misty weather. I do want to note, if you're going to be out late this evening, that's when the rain picks back up. Here's 11:30 on Futurecast. This is some heavy rain that will be working itself through. I mentioned this is with a warm front, so temperatures are going to continue to go up. 45 at 4 o'clock, 47 at 8 p.m. I think when you wake up tomorrow morning, it could be 50 degrees outside. More on the forecast. We'll talk about snow levels for the mountains. Those are going to be going up as well in just a bit. Ashley?
Rod, thank you. Well, after 6 days, the teachers' strike in Los Angeles is over. The school district has reached a tentative deal with the teachers' union. The mayor of LA made the announcement at a news conference late this morning. The tentative deal includes a 6% raise for teachers. The mayor, though, didn't say how the change will go into effect. Last Monday, tens of thousands of teachers walked off the job over issues with pay and class size. The Board of Education is expected to ratify that new deal, and teachers who are on strike are expected to return to work tomorrow. Well, within the last hour, the Oregon legislature opened the 2019 session in Salem. KGW's Pat Doris joins us live from the Capitol building. Pat, I know you have covered a number of these over the years, so what do we expect this year from this session?
Well, potentially we could expect some huge things, maybe even historic things. It's the first time in a long time that both the House and the Senate are not only controlled by Democrats, but they have what's called a supermajority. So they have 3/5 vote, which is what you need to pass new taxes without any help from the Republicans. So if they are able to work together in lockstep, they could theoretically get quite a bit done. And of course, there's a Democrat, Kate Brown, in the governor's office. So we could see some big things out of this session.
And Pat, can you tell us a little bit about some of the new potential taxes?
Right. Well, one of the biggest things is the governor has asked for $2 billion in new taxes, basically paid for by businesses, which may pass that on to consumers. But she wants that to pump into the schools. That would not only go into the classrooms, but it would also, of course, pay for the PERS pension deficit, which is a looming problem that the state has had for a few decades now and has still not been able to rectify. The other thing is $800 million for Medicaid. That's the program that pays for the state's poorest people for health insurance, mental health insurance, that sort of thing. That's facing an $800 million deficit. So the governor wants to re-up some taxes on hospitals and include some new taxes on other folks in the healthcare sector.
And Pat,
Ashley?
Another thing that's such a hot topic around here is affordable housing. Do you think lawmakers are going to tackle anything with statewide rent control, perhaps?
Yes, absolutely. That is definitely on their agenda. They're talking about limiting rent increases to 7% per year for buildings that are older than 15 years, I believe, or, pardon me, reverse that, newer. At any rate, it would control rents. There's nobody in the nation right now that has statewide rent control. And because I think of the housing crisis in Portland and some of the other areas, they are looking very seriously at that. And I think they're going to work very hard on making that one happen. Ashley?
All right, Pat Doris reporting from Salem. I know you'll have updates later on in the day on KGW. Thank you very much. It is 12:08. It is day 32 of the government shutdown. The president and Congress have less than 12 hours to come up with a deal to reopen the government, or hundreds of thousands of federal workers will miss another round of paychecks. Meanwhile, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is calling for President Trump to give in.
Open the government. Let's talk. Cannot have the president every time he has an objection to say, I'll shut down government until you come to my way of thinking.
Speaker Nancy Pelosi talked with reporters this morning, calling the president's latest offer to end the shutdown a non-starter. As NBC's Tracy Potts reports, other Democrats have also rejected his proposal.
They're calling it end the shutdown and secure the border, but it's unlikely to do either.
We want the symbol of America to remain the Statue of Liberty, freedom, equality, not a divisive wall.
Without 7 Democrats on board, President Trump's plan to offer temporary protection for 1 million dreamers and refugees in exchange for border wall funding is dead on arrival.
To tie dreamers to a conversation related to border security is truly insulting.
The president tells Democrats stop playing games and give America the security it deserves. His offer's up for a vote this week as furloughed workers prepare to miss a second paycheck on Friday.
Just let your 800,000 government workers be able to just turn the lights on and feed their kids.
Employees normally earning good money now turning to food banks to feed their families.
It is very humiliating to one day go from spending $300 at BJ's to having to rely on public assistance.
And no way to see a doctor.
All of them except for one told me not to show up because I didn't have my copay.
Thousands sidelined, but IRS workers are back on the job working unpaid to process your tax refund. Tracy Potts, NBC News, Washington.
President Trump's plan to ban transgender Americans from serving in the military is moving forward. Today, the Supreme Court granted the request from the Justice Department. It allows the government to enforce the ban while lawsuits against it play out in the lower courts. Now, military policy had barred service transgender people until the Obama administration allowed them to serve openly. LGBT activists have called the Trump administration's ban cruel and irrational. Authorities say the autopsies of the victims in a violent quadruple murder near Woodburn will be finished today. Meanwhile, investigators are trying to find a motive. They believe 42-year-old Mark Gago killed his mom, stepdad, girlfriend, and 9-month-old child in the home where they all lived. Another woman living at the house says she woke up as Gago attacked her. She was able to fight him off and get outside. Deputies say when they arrived, Gago was trying to attack an 8-year-old girl in the house. Deputies shot and killed him. The child survived. Investigators tell us right now they're trying to figure out why Gago did this.
Investigators will dig into his background, try to, place him in where he was at the past 24, 48 hours, just kind of get try to grasp the frame of mind that he was in.
And as soon as we get an update on the autopsies, we will update you on the air and at KGW.com. In Washington County, Southwest Hillsborough Highway is back open after a deadly crash overnight. Police say a 21-year-old man died. He was the passenger. Investigators say the driver was likely speeding. Officers closed part of the highway for more than 6 hours.